Oh folks, bit of a different video from me today. Bit more serious. We don't like serious. Anyway, basically we've been chatting to one of the guys, he's a subscriber here, and he's sort of on Facebook as well, Mark, and we've been chatting about the regularity and the bloody savagery lately of sheep being attacked by dogs. And it seems to have gone. It's always been a problem, but it seems to be getting worse lately. If you follow any of the farming stuff, farming or shooting or even dog stuff on social media, Facebook, whatever, there just seems to be more and more dogs attacking sheep. Now, whether we can put it down to the fact that, you know, all these lockdowns or these tier things or whatever are getting people out in the countryside more, walking their dogs for their hours exercise, if you like, whereas these people would normally just wander around the street with the dog on the lead, you know, because obviously they keep it on the lead then because they don't want to get run over, do they? Anyway, it just seems to us that it's happening an awful lot. There's, bloody hell, so many different posts, even in the last week. Sheep literally getting ripped to bits, and there's one guy the other day, I think he had 6 sheep killed and another 5 seriously injured with a very slim chance of survival. So, you know, yeah, so anyway, we were yapping about this, and he just said, oh, I think it might be a good idea if you see if you can do a bit of a video about it. This is actually my 3rd attempt at doing the video about it, because, well, the first one was just crap, as this one may be. The second one didn't have any sound, which again is probably not a bad thing when I'm yapping, but hey ho. We don't, I don't think they do subtitles in my language. But anyway, yeah, so basically it's basically just, if this video gets out and stops one attack or makes someone think, yeah, he's got a point, it's done its job, hasn't it? You know what I mean? It's, I don't know, I think we're seeing people, I mean, I'm passing people now as I've come up here to check around. There's people there, they're wandering around on the footpaths quite happily with the dogs on the leads, all well and good, you know, nice responsible dog owners. But what we're seeming to find is people are bimbling up and down the public footpaths, and they've got no control over little Fido at all, none. I mean, the majority of people that watch this probably got working dogs anyway. So our dogs, if someone's watching this and doesn't know about working dogs, our dogs are generally broken to livestock. So we generally don't have this problem. You do get the odd one, I'm sure, that'll chase a sheep. But the problem is you, how do we say it without offending people? Well, no, fuck it. Towny dogs. Your towny dog, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be from a town. It's just the dogs that tend to sit in the house all day eating snacks, lying in front of a fire, and get a half-hour wander around the housing estate to go and crap on someone's grass. That's the sort of dog that's causing the problem. A little Mrs. Woman's come walking along, and she gets to the nice open field and lets little Fido go. Little Fido's having the best day ever. He's chasing the sheep, he's having a whale of a time. Unfortunately, that's where the problem starts, because if even little Fido doesn't catch a sheep and doesn't physically get hold of a sheep, if the sheep are heavy in lamb, well, you know, little Mrs. Woman gets hold of Fido at the end of the walk, and off they go, and the sheep are still massively traumatised. And can and often do sort of abort the lambs. So You know, it's not always plainly obvious what damage your dog's done, until the farmer goes round and he's finding his bloody sheep that have aborted lambs here, there, and everywhere. Anyway, usually on the next trip out, little Fido's got a bit wise. He won't be happy until he gets hold of one of these big white fluffy woolly things that are running around the field. So off he goes, barking his head off, chasing them, maybe corners one. You know what I mean? So once they've got a taste for it, once they've started doing it, it's not good. It's not good. I mean, to be honest, I'm quite happy seeing people wandering around the countryside. Quite happy, you know, to come out, enjoy the countryside, having a nice little walk around, but, you know, as long as they're doing it sensibly, they need to keep the dogs under control. This is what I'm getting at, is that dogs have to be kept under control. There's farmers I know that have had lost sheep, even cattle have aborted calves because they've been bloody hounded and chased around the fields like a flaming lunatic. So, what I've got with me is a couple of devices. You'll like this. Device number one is a lead. It's a very, very simple device. I know I'm sounding a bit patronising now, but some of these dog owners are a bit stupid, so you've got to talk down to them a little bit. This is a lead, for anyone who doesn't know. The dog gets attached to that end, and you get attached to that end. While that is attached both ends, you'll have no problem. Wander around the countryside, up and down the public footpaths. Make sure you're on the public footpath. Don't be bimbling around private land, obviously. Go where you're allowed to go. But shove little Fido on one of them, and don't let him go. Also, a stick. Nice big hefty stick. Now, sometimes little Fido gets a little bit excited, even if he's on the lead. So, he's attached one end, you're attached to the other end, and he's going sparking, oh, he's going mental at the sheep. Give him a little stroke across the arse with the end of that. Calm him down a little bit. Not that I'm advocating shooting, hitting dogs and beating dogs up with sticks. However, I might have given the game away there. But the next solution, yeah, well, when I tell you the next solution, to show you the next solution, a little stick across Fido's arse is not going to seem so bad. So, the next solution involves things like this. And one of these. That is the last resort. That is if you keep letting little Fido off the lead and little Fido's doing some damage, little Fido might meet the wrong end of that. That we do not want. So, there's your lesson. One of them, or one of them, or something similar. You see what I mean? It's very simple, very, very simple. But now I've shown you the solutions. Let me just show you some of the issues that are caused by not using one of them. See you in a minute. So what do you think of that then? Bit graphic, aren't they? Well, hey, what can you do? You know what I mean? It's either you keep control of your dog, or things like that happen. Dead sheep everywhere and dead dogs. And nobody, to be fair, none of the farmers I know want you to shoot a dog. I'll tell you a little story. Quite local to me here, where I am now, there was dogs escaping out of the garden, and they were going into the sheep fields, and they were chasing and chasing and chasing, right? Now fortunately, none of the sheep aborted anything. They were just traumatized. They were none of them were actually attacked. They were just chased. Anyway, the farmer turned up, seized the dogs, and obviously knew the owner was. Explained what what could happen to the dogs and this, that, and the other. And it was at that point that I turned up. Now he shouted me over, says, "Come over here." So off I goes over. I said, "All right, what's happening?" And he's trying to explain. Mrs. Woman's grabbing her dogs and chucking them back in the garden and whatnot. And it was at that point he said, "This man here is my agent. He is authorised by me to shoot any dogs on this land that are worrying the sheep." So that was that really. And the lady did not want her dog shot because, well, I believe they're quite sort of poshy type show dogs, which are very expensive. So yeah, didn't want them dumping back over the fence with a hole in them. So anyway, following that, the whole garden's been literally secured, electric fences in, etc. So the dogs have never got out again. Well, the fact the farmer told them that if they were seen on the land again, that there was a good chance they were going to be shot, sorted the problem out. So I'm thinking I'm going to have a word with some farmers. If you know any farmers or whatever, try and get them to put a sign up. I know people don't take much notice of a sign, but if there's a sign there saying your dog will be shot, like, people might take a bit more notice. You know what I mean? It's nobody wants to shoot the dog. That's the thing. I don't want to shoot any dogs. Other people don't want to shoot dogs because that in itself, oh man, it's a frigging nightmare. Police get involved, this, that and the other. It's an absolute nightmare. So, you know, if any of you find yourself in that sort of situation, try and get some video footage, photographs of the actual attacks taking place before you do take any action, because it will cover your ass a little bit. Unfortunately, sometimes there isn't time to do it. But yeah, it's one of them very, very awkward situations, because at the end of the day, the owners, it'll all be your fault. You see, if you shoot the dog, the owners will go absolutely berserk, and then it's all your fault. Everything's your fault. You're an evil, you know what I mean? So it's because they're traumatized. They know full well they're in the wrong, and it's their fault. It's not even the dog's fault. It's their fault. If your dog's being a dick, it's your fault. It's not nobody else's fault. So you know, that's the way it goes. But yeah, nobody wants to shoot any dogs. Nobody wants to hurt anybody's animals. You know, but this stuff has got to stop, hasn't it? You know what I mean? So hence why I'm trying to do this bit of an infomercial. It's nobody ever listens to me anyway, but you know, if this, like I say, if this stuff stops one attack or makes one person think, "Oh God, I better put that dog on the lead," you know what I mean? It's done its job. I'm not going to monetize it, so I won't be making any money out of this. Not that I make any money out of YouTube anyway, but if you know what I mean. I mean, the odd 1 or 2 pence here and there. So I won't be monetizing this. It's just more of an information thing, really, rather than anything else. But what I will say is, when your dog, that device there, that makes your dog bulletproof. Just bear that in mind. That or a harness or something, as long as you're attached to one end and the dog's attached to the other end, that will make your dog bulletproof. Literally, bit of rope is bulletproofing for your dog. Think about that one. That little bit of rope. Your dog will never be hurt, never be shot, never be anything while it's on that. Unless some other dickhead's there with their dog on the lead and they start fighting. But hey, you know, what can you do about that? But yeah, that device will bulletproof your dog. So bear that in mind. I'm shivering here, bloody freezing, 0 degrees. These are things I do for you lot. But yeah, so that's it pretty much. It's more of more for information purposes really, and any of these people who are quite happily bimbling around on the farmland taking no notice, couldn't give a shit, I don't care, no, my dog won't do this. Think on. Better to think with that though. Get yourself a stick. Anyway, right, I'm gonna go. Hope this may be of interest to someone, maybe not. You never know. However, you might have noticed there's been no swearing this time. But what I will say is, put your dog on a fucking lead. Bye.